Yeah, we got a new one tonight, you guys, and I'm very excited about it. We're going to be going over, let me show it to you, this Awaken RPG. And this is a really cool book. They actually have a Kickstarter out right now that they have like kind of an expansion, a regional book for it. That's out right now on Kickstarter for like 3 more days. So I just found out about this one. And Jacob actually turned me on to it, sent me this book, and I wanted to jump on it right away. So we're just going to jump right in and see what this thing's all about. Now, their original Kickstarter, let me pull this up here. The original Kickstarter was in 2015. I want to say it was October or something like that. Like October 2015, okay? And this is for their core book. And they got 436 backers and $25,000. And so they did very, very well for this, for the first Kickstarter on this. And so I was just excited to hear that they have their second Kickstarter coming out, which is, let me pull it up, the Awaken Laborian Saga. Be sure to check it out. I'll put the link in the title up here. And so you guys can click on that, and then I'll bring you to this right here. I'm a backer, you guys. And, you know, I don't back a whole lot on Kickstarter. Only back stuff that I really can connect with. And so I like this one. I clicked back, and I'm getting the PDF right now. I might upgrade that to the hard copy because I really like the hard copy of things. So, and I kind of dig their hard copy of the core book too. So yeah, you can see they're already funded. They have a $6,500 goal. They already have $8,600, so they're funded. There's less than 3 days left. So go ahead and jump on there and show those guys some love if you like this game. Where can we get this? Let's talk about that real quick. I got mine through Jacob. He sent it to me. Thank you, Jacob. I'm going to send it back when I'm done, but I think I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. I just can tell it seems like one of my type of books. I just think it's neat. It is on drivethrurpg.com, and the PDF is $20. You can get the hardcover, which I have, which is $50, $49.99, and you get the PDF included. So that's cool. So for $49.99, you get the PDF and the hardcover. I think that's a decent deal, you know, when you put those two together. So not too shabby. They also have a website here, which is awakenrpg.net. And you can go through here and look at all their cool stuff that they have. They did actually send this cool GM screen as well. And so so I do have that back there. So I'll probably look at that at some point, show you guys what's going on with that. But yeah, you can check out their website. Lots of cool artwork, you guys. I mean, lots of really, really, really nice artwork. And so just check out their website, awakenrpg.net. And you can find a lot of that cool stuff here. They also, real quick, I wanted to mention, they had the quick start guide for the core rulebook right here on their website, which you can download for free. And I want to say it's like 40 something pages, 50 pages. And so that'll get you started in this RPG just right there. And it's for free. So check, you know, just go to the website, download the quick start guide, see if it's for you. So far, I've kind of been digging it. The artwork is just incredible. So you can see some of that on this page, like I said. Just really neat. It's really dark and kind of gritty. Almost has like a Witcher type flair to it a little bit. But yeah, so $49.99 for the hardcover. Plus you get the PDF for free on DriveThruRPG. Now this book it's a full-size book. This is not a pamphlet or, you know, some little small cheesy thing. This is a full-size hefty book. It's 8.5 by 11. I think it's like 215 pages. Hardcover. It's nice, glossy finish. The artwork just looks great in it. So what I like to do is just quickly, you know, I always try to look at the value of things and just the raw, you know, product value, not content wise and all that and perceived value, but just raw value, right? So look at the $50 that you pay for this book divided by the 215 pages comes out to, you know, 23 cents a page. Now that's a little bit on the expensive side of things compared to the other books that we've looked at. For example, Coriolis was $49, the same price. It had 384 pages, which, you know, that came out to 13 cents per page for just a little bit of a comparison. So it is a little bit more on the expensive side, but that's okay. They're a new company. They're in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, so I think that's kind of cool. They're on the other side of the state from me, but I think it's cool to be supporting another Tennessee company. I think that's awesome. And it seems like they make a pretty cool product. And I really like the world that they developed here too. So yeah, flipping through the book, it's you know, pretty pretty nice. The first thing I notice always is the paper quality, right? And I think The Witcher changed this for me, you guys. Like The Witcher had this really shiny, like a magazine quality paper, and it made the art look incredible, but I couldn't hardly read it because the glare was so awful, so distracting when I was trying to read. Now in this book, we kind of have the opposite of situation here. Now this is very, very matte paper, okay, not shiny at all. You can see like there's no light reflecting off of it. If I show you, this is bright lights. I'm underneath you guys, so there's a lot of light, and there's no shine to it whatsoever. It's super matte, but the problem that I'm kind of getting here is that it makes it super easy to read, but that artwork definitely suffers a little bit from that. This beautiful artwork it doesn't pop off the page. Like if you might have had, I don't know, like a satin finish, a little bit of gloss, in there, would have really made that art, pop a lot more, just because the art's so incredible, and still give it that kind of readability. So that kind of fine medium between satin and matte is kind of where you want to be, or glossy and matte. That's where you really want to be, for me personally. Now this is all personal preference. This kind of starts off a little negative, but it's not negative. This is just kind of first things I noticed is so a lot of the pages, the pages are black and white, right? So the art is color, but everything on the page is basically in black and white. The watermark behind it is like a grayscale, and the charts and the headers and things like that are in black. So it just kind of gives it a little bit of a dull finish. Now, if you look at the PDF, which I'm going to show you, it looks awesome. So let me scroll down a little bit. Come on now. Let me scroll through some of the pages. And so if you look at the PDF, it doesn't bother you, right? Like, the black, just the black text, it looks completely normal. But when you look at it in the book, it almost looks a little bland. In the book, it looks a little bit bland compared to the PDF. It works in the PDF, but like when you look at it in the book, just maybe if the watermark was just a little bit colored, or if they had put like the headers, stuff like that, just had a little bit of splash of color here and there, besides just the artwork, I think that would have gone a long way. But other than that, those are all just kind of nitpicky things. I think they've done a really good job with this. Now, where this book really starts to shine, though, is in the story. Okay, so the first 85 or so pages are just chocked full of this incredible world, gritty kind of supernatural type world, and the different people that are in it, and all these different types of factions and orders and cults, and so that it's just full of information right from the beginning, and it sucks you right in. And the introduction, the first page introduction, really just tells this incredible tale of this cool creation story. So I want to tell you a little bit about that, and plus you have this awesome artwork right here. Let me pull up the artwork on the PDF so you can see it. So you can see this is like the very first page of the book for the most part. I mean, you have table of contents, and then this awesome piece of artwork, and look at the depth and all this stuff in there. It just looks incredible, right? And then they give us this little bit of an introduction. This is like a creation story, okay? So let me talk about what it's telling us here. The introduction and the storyline almost has a religious or biblical, like Christian biblical type feel to it in some places, and maybe a lot of religious, creation stories kind of start like this. But I find it really interesting and very believable. Honestly, it sounds cool to me, and because it talks about in the beginning there was these two beings, and I'm probably going to mess up their names. Two beings called Azimuth and Zamatra. Okay, so you had these two beings, Azimuth and Zamatra, and they each had their race of servants that they called the First Ones. Okay, and so they created this world, and they seeded it with life, and full of birds and fish, and finally, after a long time, even human beings. Mankind on earth. Now, over time, the first ones, these kind of servants of these two beings, began to slowly fade and age and eventually die. And now, as they died, Azimuth became terribly sad and very empty feeling inside. And as a result of this, he wanted to create new children who would know him and his blessings. He didn't want to just have these ignorant birds and fish that don't know really what a God is or not capable. he wanted beings to be able to know of him and his blessings and everything that he's created. So he gave the humans some of his blood, and this created what was known to be as the second ones. So the first ones were the servants that came there to help Azimuth and Sumatra, and at the very beginning, but they passed away over time. And so as a result, Azimuth created these new beings, gave the humans some of his own blood, and created these second ones. Okay. And these second ones, are full of these powers, and it was a really awesome time, right? Well, Sumatra, he wanted some of his wanted some new servants as well, right? So, but he wanted his servants to be mindless workers, and he didn't like the idea of free will. And this really made him hold a grudge against Azimuth for giving this free will to the second ones, right? So over time, this grudge grew and grew and grew until finally the two actually started this war against each other, right? So you have these two almost godlike beings, fighting over the earth. And some say the battle lasted only a few minutes, while others say that it lasted over generations before finally coming to an end. But at the end of it all, Sumatra was injured and banished into the depths of the core of the earth. And he was trapped there. And people said that he's trapped there and he's plotting his revenge to one day come back at the perfect moment, right? Well, during this time, humanity is led by the second ones, right? And because the second ones have the powers, and so they're kind of leading humanity to kind of rebuild the world, right? But over time, the second ones kind of mix with the humans, right? Mix with the common people, the common folk. And their powers slowly start to fade, right? They kind of become diluted, and the powers slowly start to fade and eventually just disappear altogether. Now, after this fading, the Azimuth, once again just kind of grew tired and decided that he was going to rest. So he said that he was pledged to return to the earth and to help humanity in its most dire of times. And he finally retreated to his resting place, which was in this great pyramid in Jarillo. I think that's how you call it, Jarillo or Jarillo. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but so he's found his little sleeping spot right in the Great Pyramid, and so that's where he's at. And now this pyramid comes up later on because it is it's kind of a holy type place, right? That's where one of the gods kind of lives, right? But yeah, really cool stuff. And again, the artwork in here, guys, is top notch. There's nothing short. I mean, some of the best artwork that I've seen in an RPG. I mean, even with Witcher, this is comparable to me for the Witcher RPG artwork. I'm really digging it. It's very, very nice. So now let's talk a little bit about, let me flip through here. You see this cool artwork. This is awesome war. They give a lot of background, in what's going on and the different wars that take place and stuff like that. I can't go through it all just because it's so much. But I do want to talk about what's called the Vasili. Vasali. Vasili. Okay. So as time went by, something strange started to happen with these various people, right? Stories of people performing all these types of heroic feats, under dire circumstances, and people that were formerly deformed, suddenly getting well, and people with powers that were not heard of for generations began to arise. And these people with powers, they would have their appearances change as well, seemingly overnight. A lot of times it was their eye colors, would suddenly change or gradually change and to this totally different weird looking eye color, and scars on their skin would start to emerge. And these people were not just one certain bloodline. No, these were people from all different bloodlines and all different societal positions and from all parts of the known world, right? And they started calling them the Vasali. And people called them the Awakened because the church thought that they were these reincarnations of the second one. And they thought that this was a sign that the promised return of Azimuth was soon approaching, right? So Azimuth might be coming and waking up out of the pyramid and going to come help us, right? Because the world's full of this crazy stuff going on. So yeah, the Vasali are these supernatural beings in a way, right? They're part deity, part human. And they look very different from normal people. Like I said, they're this change that they went through and when they started getting these powers and things, it kind of consumed them, right? And it affected their physical bodies as well as their spirit and their mind. So they said that they often have these yellow or amber or gold colored eyes, and they get super intense, or some of them are super intense where people won't even look them in the eye because it's so intense. It's just awkward feeling, right? I think we've all kind of seen somebody like that. They have like a really intense eyes, and it's almost kind of weird to look at. Have you ever had that happen to you? It's just nuts, right? Well, these people are like super duper intense. And there's a cool picture of one of them here. I want to try to find it. Here it is. This guy right here, like crazy looking, almost white eyes, like super intense looking, like, oh crap, man, it feels intimidating just to kind of look at them, right? So yeah, these Visali the Awakened look very different than normal people, and they kind of stick out from the crowd. And they also have these scars that trace down their veins, right? Almost like in the spider web type patterns, like follows the lines of their veins, of these scars, right? Like what the hell is that about? And it tells us that this is from when they use their powers, like what they call gifts, and they use it like too wildly or recklessly, or maybe when they're learning their powers, they don't know how to control it quite right. Well, their blood actually begins to boil. Yeah. And this boiling blood inside of them causes this scarring and this spiderweb type patterns all throughout their body, right? And they call them blood scars. I think that's badass, right? Blood scars. I mean, if you're going to be scarred all over, blood scars sounds pretty awesome. So yeah. Now a lot of these Visali or the Awakened, they wear these scars kind of like a badge of honor, right? Because it does look pretty boss. But other Visali kind of hide them. They think they're a sign of weakness or a weak control over your powers, and so they hide them as much as they can. They kind of tell us a little bit about these Visali. Now they're super powerful, right? They got they're super strong, even without using any of their powers, and they have these crazy powers that they can use. And they kind of specialize in different types of areas that we find out about later. Now, while they're powerful, because they're partially divine and partially human, they're not immortal in any sense, right? Their lifespan is about the same as a normal human, except their body does not age really like a human's does. It says their bodies don't get like crippled or hunched over, kind of like how I am sometimes. It says instead their bodies almost look kind of youngish in a way. They kind of remain kind of youngish, their bodies do, but their faces age, so you kind of got this like, perfect posture on this like 80-year-old person, but their face is all wrinkled and old. Now, it does say finally at the age of 70 or 80, their metabolism starts to slow down, and they become susceptible to common diseases, which eventually take their life, or maybe they just die of old age. So that happens. So yeah, just cool stuff, man. Cool stuff. The Visali just sounds awesome, and this is the cool part, you guys. You're going to be playing a Visali, an Awakened. Okay, so you're going to be playing one of these beings. And I'm going to be getting into that on another stream probably tomorrow. I think I'm going to do these back to back because their Kickstarter I think ends Wednesday. So we got 3 days, maybe it's Thursday. So I want to get as much as I can and help out their Kickstarter, right? I like helping out other publishers and designers as well, because I've been there. I've been on the Kickstarter thing. But yeah, I want to tell you guys all about it as much as I can, allow you to make an informed decision. So yeah, so these Velocity. Am I saying that right? Velocity? Yeah. Not Velocity. Visali. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Visali is the name of them. The Awakened. We can call them just Awakened. I think that works. Now they're going to die, like I said, over time. They get old and they die of old age and all that kind of stuff. But there is a way that they can actually increase their powers, right? And through these rituals that include like these pools of water that surround the pyramid where this god is sleeping. So if they get fortified in these pools and get these rituals performed on them, they can have their powers increase. And in doing so, they go through this kind of metamorphosis again. And eventually, now it talks about this. It says these type of rituals killed a lot of Visali that tried it, but the strongest would actually survive and emerge as something totally different. Okay, another metamorphosis. They turn in these incredibly large, like giant size powerful beings whose mind was also altered into something almost completely alien, and through this whole process. And they are called colossi. Okay, colossi, almost like Colossus, right? So there's these giant beings, these mighty guardians. They're created, using these horrible rituals that are extremely painful to the Vasali, but they also serve as purpose to help do things, right? Like for everything from building buildings to being defenses in the military. They serve a great purpose. And the orders, I think there's 5 orders, which are almost like this alliance that kind of suck up the Vasali as soon as they're identified, right? They start recruiting them. And so most of them will end up in these orders. Then some of them will get turned into these colossi, which the orders will use for their own benefits as well. Now, the Circle, which is one of the orders, has the most of these colossi, but it does tell the story of these colossi kind of going. They kind of go a little crazy, right? And so some of them escaped and went wild. They're super hard to control because they're very volatile. They're very aggressive. And it says that they can really only be controlled through other Vasali who are adept at mind control. And they kind of become like the handlers of these colossi. And so they're kind of trained from a young age to control colossi, and that's kind of your job, right? But some of them have started freaking out and not paying attention to the mind commands anymore, and destroying stuff, running off or killing themselves, like all types of crazy stuff. So they kind of did away with making more colossi for a while, and so the population is kind of on the decline. So there's not that many left, but some of them are still out in the wild, and it's really crazy. So some of the cool stuff they talk about is when the colossi get old, they go to, where is it? It tells us that they're extremely long-lived, but when they go old, they kind of wander off into the mountains, and they call it a colossi garden near the city of Kala. Because over time, the colossi actually turn into stone as their body withers away. How cool is that? Your body turns to stone, and you kind of have this graveyard of these stone colossi that have died, kind of wander over to this colossi garden, and they die there. They collect there. And it kind of comes from the story says that the first colossi ever made just got up one day, sensing his end is near, and went to the mountains, not listening to any orders he was given, just slowly walking towards the mountains. People followed him. You can almost see that, like this giant being thing, and like hundreds of people, like, where's the colossi going? And they all just start following him till he eventually gets to these mountains. People followed him, curious because of his behavior, and saw him banging the mountain with his fist until he opened the natural walls, which were hiding the largest cave ever seen. He slowly entered the cave and sat down, peacefully departing from life. From then on, every colossus which sensed a natural end to his life followed his example like it was predestined for them. People never understood what makes them behave like that, but they accepted it and built large doors leading to the cave and a network of bridges allowing the people to follow the colossi when they decide to leave. So that just sounds like an awesome story, because you can kind of almost see that, like this picture says a lot, like this giant being with the mist kind of going, they're walking through the valley up to the mountain, and the people almost like wishing them farewell. And I just think that's an awesome storyline. So yeah, just really cool. And they had that about almost every type of faction and creature in this book, where it just a really, really deep storyline to all these things, and gives you a lot of information. Because when you're building your world here, building your campaign or your story, they give you tons and tons to work from all these different types of orders to the cults and the different types of factions. There's wild animals running around. There's dangerous. There are supernatural beings. And so it's a very dangerous world. When you start creating your campaign, there's tons and tons of room to move around in. And, what type of thing. And you can see, like, I guess that's a guy right there. A little bitty speck. I don't know if you can really see that. Little bitty speck, I guess, is a guy. If that's how big they are, that's insane, right? Like, it's like smaller than the guy's hand. Like, it'd fit in the dude's hand. Like Colossians like that, there's a man, right? That just sounds awesome. You have these giant beings like that. But yeah, there's tons of stuff in this world for you to build a campaign around. and all these different cool factions for you to work in and around of, right? All the different plots and stuff where this faction, this order is trying to get one across on this order. Maybe this assassination attempt is trying to go on in this city, right? Because the one of the rulers is too harsh, right? And so there's tons of stuff that you can do, and you have these players that are these Vasali, these awakened, that have these special powers that they can use and to help, do whatever, right? If you're going for the side of good, or you're going to try to do something, whatever, right? All types of fun to be had. So tons of stuff going on in this world, and I can't wait to dive into it more. We're going to be going into, there's also fiends too. I think when a Velocity gets corrupt, then they eventually turn into a fiend, and they look all crazy and dark. And almost like their emperor from Star Wars, like faces all jacked up, and they look like a demon being almost. So where was the picture of that? I thought I did see a picture of that. Let me see, because the artwork is just amazing, you guys. Like I said, go and check it out. Their Kickstarter, I linked it in the description of the stream. Go and check it out. I backed it. I went in and backed it for the PDF. I think I'm probably going to upgrade that to the book, more than likely, just because I like having the physical copy to flip through. Plus, I like just having stuff like on my shelf. I just think it's cool. So it's in here somewhere with the Fiend. There he is. There's the Fiend guy. He looks all creepy, crazy eyes, and teeth showing and claws hanging out. It looks all nuts. So yeah, just an awesome thing. So go and check that out. Next time, probably tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the character creation and kind of show you guys a little bit about how they handle character creation in the Awaken RPG. And then we'll quickly get into the mechanics, a little bit of combat, and try to wrap it all up, probably Thursday-ish or something like that. So I usually just do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I think I'm going to do Monday through Thursday, if that's what it takes. Because their Kickstarter is ending soon, and we want to help these guys out as much as possible. So go and check out their Kickstarter if you like it. Pledge for $1, if nothing else, right? Let me see. And their website, again, is the Awaken. Let me see. Where was my webpage share? Yeah, awakenrpg.net. You can see a lot of their information on here. Like I said, that quick start guide, you can download that for free, the PDF for free on this website. I think it's like 40-something pages, 50 pages, and that'll give you the quick start guide. Tons of incredible art on here. So yeah, check it out, you guys, and we will be back on tomorrow night, and we're going to start on character creation. Zoltan, thank you so much for allowing me to review this, and I wish you guys luck on your Kickstarter, and we will see you all on tomorrow night. We'll see. Bye, guys.